Okay guys, I am back with you. The last thing I forgot to mention is you will need a little bit of thread to make sure that your eyes get put on. Now she recommends, let me see if I can find my eyeballs. I'll look for the other one later. She recommends the eyes here that have the little posts in them, and I have two of those. If you don't want to use eyes, you can also start your eye circle off with black. You see that all the time when people are making eyes for their little stuffed little beings. So you have your eyes, you have your needle. These are my yarn selections. So I have my cream, and this is my pink that I was talking about. I really love this. It's like a flamingo pink. My orange for my beak, and then this, it's just a really odd color, but I wanted it for the ears, okay? So basically, oh, I had a needle stuck in that. That was nice. So basically what we're going to do is get started with the white. The white is the very first color that I'm going to start with. You can choose to start with whatever. Okay, so basically we are going to get started here, and I am going to use my 5.5 millimeter hook, and we will then, what she does is, the first thing you will do is chain 2. So we will do a chain 2, and you will do 6 single crochet in the second chain, okay? So you will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And don't forget your polyfill, guys. You will need polyfill. You will definitely need that to stuff your little guy with. Alright, so here is where you're going to need your stitch marker. So just make sure you get whichever marker you're going to use, and because when you're working in the round, you're not going to be joining. You are going to be working in the round, which means you're just going to be moving your stitch marker up as you go. So for round 1, you're not joining here. You're just going to go directly to round 2. So what you're just going to do is put 2 here into this first stitch. So round 2, you're going to put 2 here. So before you go any further, you want to mark that first chain that you, or that first stitch you just did. So that was your first stitch into the second round. So here's your second one, okay? So she said to put 2 in the first one and 2 in each stitch around, okay? So that's going to give you a total of 12 stitches. So that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so you can take that stitch marker out. Now for round 3, you're going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So you're going to put your first one in and put your stitch marker back into that stitch. So that's the first one. And then put your second one in that same stitch. And then you're going to do 1 in the next. So that's your pattern for this round. So 2 in the next, 1 in the next. So we're increasing. 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 2, then 1, 2, and then 1. And now you want to make sure for this round you have 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? So now for round 4, let's take that marker out. Round 4, you'll do 2 in the next, So let's do our first one and put that marker back in, and go ahead and put the other one in there. So there's 2 in the first, then you're going to do 1 in each of the next 2. So 1 in that one and 1 in the next one. So that's our pattern for this round. So 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 1 in the next. Okay, that's your pattern. So 2 in the next, 1 and 1, 2, then 1 and 1, 2, 1 and 1, then 2, 1 and 1. Okay, for this round you want to have 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Alright, take that stitch marker out. Now for round 5, 2 in the next. So let's do the first one only. Put that marker back and put the other stitch in that same stitch as well. So you have 2 in the first, and then 1 in each of the next 3. So 1, 1, and 1. And that's going to be our pattern. So 2 in the next, 1 in the next 3. So 1 there, 1 in that stitch, and 1 in that stitch. And then 2 in the next. Okay? So then 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and 1 in the next. 2 in the next. 1 in the next, 1 and 1. 2 in the next. 1, 1, and 1, 2 in the next, and then 1, 1, and 1. Okay, in this row you should have 30, and I will let you count those. And now rows 6 through 11 you are going to single crochet around. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So for 6 rows, you are going to single crochet, maintaining your 30 stitches. And for each row that you single crochet around, you're going to move your stitch marker up, okay? So your first stitch, you're going to make your first single crochet. Then you're going to put your marker back in. And then you're just going to single crochet around. And then as you get to your marker, you're going to remove it, and then you're going to do your first single crochet, and then you're going to put it right back in, then you're going to go another round. Okay? So just make sure though that you keep up with it. You need a total of 6 single crochet rows. Okay? And if you can keep up with it, you can leave your stitch marker there and go all the way around till you have 6 rows. So that's up to you. Do it whichever way you can do it. And I will meet you back, and we are going to change to our next color, which I will be changing to my pink. So I will let you do your 6 rows, and I will meet you back at the end of round 11. Okay, I will see you there. Right, guys, I am at the end of my row 11, so I'm just going to do these last couple here, and then on this last stitch you are going to be just coming through one loop, and you're going to join now your second color if you're changing colors, and I'm going to change to my pink now. Okay, so you're just going to put that on your hook and you're going to slide through, and we're just going to fasten that first color off. And I'm just going to tie that knot there to make sure that those colors stay in place. Okay. So now what we're going to do is take out that marker, and you can use it if you want to now. Otherwise you will be able to see at this point where you start these next rounds if you're changing color, because you're going to see where your color change took place. So now what you're going to do now is you're going to go rounds 12 through 16, and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to single crochet around. Alright, and working over these stitches or these tails, you're just going to start and make sure that you maintain your 30 stitches. So you're going to work rounds 12 through 16, and you're just going to continue doing your single crochets around. Okay, so I'm just going to continue working these around and working over those tails, and then once you get so much of that tail worked up and hid, you can just fasten those off, clip them off if you want. Making sure that you don't clip anything you shouldn't. And if you feel more comfortable about putting that stitch marker back in, that's fine, do so. But you want to do 12 through 16 and just work your basic single crochet. And then I will meet you back up, and we will pick back up, and we will then fasten this color off, and we will start stuffing our body. And I will meet you back up as soon as I'm at the end of my row 16. Alright guys, we are back. So we have a little visitor. He decided he was going to make his appearance, so Georgie's helping. We'll see how long he stays. So now what we've done is turn your piece inside out to where your beginning tail is actually inside now. So what we will do now is I have left a long tail, and I have threaded that into one of my tapestry needles. And now what you're going to do, make sure you fastened it off, is you're now going to take your stuffing and you are going to start putting that inside the base of your owl. And depending on the size that you want it to be, if you want it to be a really chunky owl, you want to stuff it quite a bit. If you don't want it to be really super chunky, don't stuff it too thickly, okay? So then once you get it stuffed however chunky you want, I'm going to take my needle here and thread through my loop that we finished off with, just so that that part doesn't come undone. So now what she wants you to do is just to start closing up both ends. So you're just going to sew both of these ends, both of these sides, sorry, together. That way it closes the head up. Okay, so that's all you're doing here, is you're just going directly across, and you're just going to close this up. Okay, and then it's just going to give you little points here up at the ears. Super easy. And I did mine in these colors because I'm going to put this little owl, and I'll make a blue one. I'll probably make several of them. I make different stuffed little animals. But anyway, to put back in my grandbaby keepsake box. So that way if any of my children would like to decorate their nurseries in owls, I'll have things for them. Or they're just cute decorations in general that they can use. So once you get all this across, you get to that other side and make that a point. Okay? So then what you want to do is just kind of go back into that one point, and you want to loop in there and take your thread and go back into that loop and make that a knot, and that'll make a nice little point on that ear as well. And then just take your needle, and I've shown this many times, and go all the way as far in as you can go. Pull it through, and don't pull real tight, and then lose that yarn and it'll disappear in the stuffing, that is. And then you clip it. Okay, and then you have your sweet little head of your owl. Okay, so I will be right back, and we will start on the eyes and the little ears. Alright guys, I completed one eye there for us, just so you see what we're going to be doing for the second one. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set that back there, and you're going to grab your white, and we're going to start the second eye. So you're going to get your slip knot, and you're going to do a chain 2. Then you will do 6 single crochet into the beginning stitch. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, you're not joining here, and you do not need a stitch marker because we're only doing one row here. So in this beginning stitch, you just simply want to do 2 in each stitch around. So 1, 2, 2 in the next, 3, 4, 2 in the next, so it's 5 and 6, 2 in the next, that's 7 and 8, 2 in the next, that's 9 and 10, 2 in the next, that's 11, and that's 12. Okay, so now what you're going to do is fasten off, and I left myself a tail because I like to thread a little bit inward, that way I can sew the eye on closer towards the middle. So now just pull that through so that knots up a bit there. Okay, now next just grab your button and place that there in the center, and whatever thread you're using, you want to go ahead and get that in your hand. And then all you're going to do now at this point is you're just going to attach that button. So you're going to go from side to side and thread through. Leave enough to tie off, because you do want to tie that into a knot at the end just for added security. So I made about 3-4 passes just to make sure. And the needle being so thick, it's only going to go through a couple times. Okay, yep, this is my 4th, so this is going to be the last. Okay. There we go. So then what you want to do is just tie this in a double knot. And you're not going to see this anymore, so you don't have to weave it in, just cut it. And you have your eye. Okay, so what I did is just kind of took this piece of thread or yarn, this end, and just pulled it through that next stitch there. Alright, so now you're going to get yourself, and it's easier to do this with the metal hook. So you're going to thread your long end. Okay, because now you're going to, well, let's get all of it in. That's probably going to be the best way to do this. If I can get it all through there. You gotta love yarn. Even with a big eye, sometimes it just doesn't want to go through. There we go. Okay. So now you want to position the eye. Position it this way. And don't forget, we still have to put the beak on. So you want to center it pretty good. Okay, just leave a little bit of a gap. And then you just kind of want to go in and out of about every other stitch. But make sure you're hooking the loops underneath. And you don't want to pull it too tight. So you make sure you're getting underneath here. Okay, so you want to attach to the owl's body itself. Okay. So just kind of bend it. And like I said, it works better with the metal needle than the plastic. So you only got to do this maybe 3-4 times. Okay. And that's about it. And then I'm going to go across underneath back over to my tie yarn over here. That way I can just tie it off. And if you go under the eye, it's never going to be seen that you did that. So you want to double tie that. Okay, and if it looks a little wrinkly, just stretch it back out, because whenever you push or start threading, that's what happens sometimes. Alright, and get yourself a smaller hook. What you want to do, same thing we did before, is you want to go underneath. See how I went underneath? You want to go through your white and pull those strands through. And you want to make those disappear. Then clip those off and they will totally disappear for you. Voila! You have his pretty eyes. Okay. So those are his eyes. And now what you want to do with his beak is get your yarn and get your needle, and I'm going to use my big metal needle again because it's just easier to work with. You're going to thread it up, and basically I'm just going to cut some length off of mine. You don't have to cut a whole lot, but just cut yourself a long strand. And you're just going to she says sew 8 to 10 loops in between the eyes to create the beak. And if you're looking at the picture, basically you're just going to go in between the eyes right here, down below them a bit, and then you're going to go at an angle up towards the corner of one eye. You're going to pull that thread until you just barely see it. Then you're going to go back down that same hole that you started, and then back in the top one again. Just barely pulling that, okay? Then you will go back in that bottom one again, and then go to the corner of the other eye. Okay? And then you'll just do that process again. Go to the corner of the other eye again. Okay? And do it again. Okay? And then you're just going to just kind of repeat that, just moving over a little bit, because now what you're just trying to do is fill this in. And that's just how you're going to get your beak made. You're just going to fill in your spaces. Because the more of these that you make, it's just going to kind of fold over and make the beak. And you don't have to overwhelm it, just make it until it just kind of makes the beak, makes it in full. And then you can put it in one more time, and then what you're just going to do at that point is we will go under the bottom, and I'm going to go across like this, and then you'll fasten it off. And then you have your beak. Okay? Alright, and now for the final part, which are going to be the cute little ears. Let's see. Basically what she does for the ears is kind of like making tassels, and of course I'm doing mine in the pink. Is you basically just grab, let me move my little owl out of the way, is you're going to grab your yarn, and trying to see her little instructions, but it's fine. I'm going to use the pink and the white together. So just keep in mind that whenever you make the little ears, you're going to be doubling this. So you want to make it double the length, okay, of whatever it's going to be. So I'm going to make 2 strands. So that means I'm going to have to, this is going to be 1 strand, okay. So I want them about, and you're going to have to tie the knot. So there's 1 strand. So I'm going to cut it doubled, which is that length, and then I'm going to do it again. So that way it's kind of full. So then I'm going to measure it again and cut me another strand. So that's going to be for 1 ear. Okay? So then for the other ear, I'm going to do the same thing. And you want to make it the same length. So measure it from the other side. And you can trim them, so don't worry if they're too long, but you don't want to get them all too short. Or, you know, if you like them all callywampus, that's fine too. Alright, so I have 2 strands, so make sure your hook is big enough. So now all you're just going to do is go into the top of the ear, wherever you can find to get that hook in. And sometimes it's a little difficult. There we go. Take all your strands, make sure that they're even, and you just want to pull them through. And you don't have to do this part with your hook. You can actually pull it up with your fingers. Make sure you have all the loops and just pull it through. Okay? And if you don't want them that long, which hers are a bit more spiky, so you got to make them shorter, just cut them. And then they stand up. I love stuff like this. Okay? Now you go to the other side and do the same thing. Just go into the top. I'm going to pull them through. Make sure you got all those loops. So there should be 4, and I think I'm missing 1. Yep, there it is. I have to get that 1 in there. Okay, so once you have all of your loops, get them all even, best you can. Okay, and then pull them through. Then you trim them. Voila! Isn't she cute? She's so cute. Oh, I love her. She's pretty. Alright guys, and that is all there is to making the free baby owl pattern from Miss Jody at Forever Stitchin'. Oh, she's so cute. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I have such fun making all these little adorable little things. So Miss Jody, thank you very much for allowing me to do your beautiful pattern. And if Miss Jody gives me the permission to do more, I absolutely will. And I will link you guys to her sites, and you can check out all of her beautiful creations. And I strongly advise you to do so. So until next video, guys, Have a great day and happy National Crochet Month and happy hooking!